Hello, welcome back to Our Vision Farm. I just got done with everything I had to do inside today, homeschooling, lunch and all of that. So it's finally time to come out here and get started on my outdoor work. What I'm going to do today is finish mulching my garden over here. I need to mulch this garden and then the one in the back. I did this last year. As you can see, by when I say mulch, I actually mean layering leaves inside of my garden. So I did this last year, and this year it has already disintegrated into basically compost. It's already improving our soil in our garden. It's already turning into dirt. So that was the first year I did that. I can only imagine how our soil would be if we would have started that 6 years ago when we moved onto this property. But as you go, you learn new things, and you learn new tips from other people and other more seasoned gardeners. And that is one little tip that I learned starting last year, that you can literally go around your yard if you have trees like we do. Go around the yard and rake up all the leaves you can find. We mostly have oak trees, but we have a couple other trees I'm not sure the name of, especially in our backyard too. Rake up all the leaves and layer them in your garden, basically like you would mulch. So here is, I use these big 30-gallon bins to carry around my leaves everywhere. If you have a wheelbarrow, you can even load up trash bags worth or feed bags, and just to make it easier to carry it to your garden. So over the years of doing this, you're going to be improving your soil, especially if you live somewhere like here in Florida where it's really sandy. This is pretty much free compost, free mulching for your garden. All you really have to do is rake it up. So it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, but it's free. You can't beat free, and you get it every single year. So I did this around this time last year, and I'm doing it again this year because I've already seen the results just from 1 year. What 1 year can do is amazing. So we started this yesterday. This is around our blueberry bushes. I just got a little bit more to go here, and then I can move on to the back garden. So what I'm doing is going to like all these bare spots over here. I'm putting a good couple inches of leaf on it. That also helps with weed control, but I'm mostly doing it to improve our sandy soil, not so much the weed control. Here, as you can see, I layered some cardboard as well. You can do that too. Layer cardboard and then top it off with your wood chips if you have them, or your mulch, or just leaves just like this. And that will help with weed control for sure. Over time, the cardboard will break down into the dirt, and so will the leaves, and you are making yourself a nice little area to plant in the future. So that's what I did here, because we have a lot of reoccurring weeds here that pop up every year. So I want to go ahead and start making this a better area to plant in the future. So I'm trying to stop and basically suffocate the weeds that are forming here year after year with this cardboard and these leaves, and eventually it will be a little area that I could plant in. So I'm gonna bring like another 1 or 2. I got some bare spots right here I gotta cover up, but this one is pretty much all done. Also going to be pruning some of our trees up here in the front yard. As you can see, I planted another fruit tree, the nectarine tree. The peach tree we planted the other day. Yesterday I planted the nectarine tree about 15 feet away. So I'm gonna start planting all my fruit trees in that area where you see the most sunlight. But in the After this winter is over and spring starts, all these trees will be filled in with leaves, and I feel like it's gonna make too much shade for the fruit tree orchard that we want to start up here. We do have a lot of open space all the way in the front, but I would like to prune some of these trees, get some of these branches down, maybe eventually remove some of these smaller trees that are a little bit younger, and that'll leave more space, more open air, more sunlight for our fruit bearing trees, which is what we really want to focus on. Back here in our backyard, we have absolutely no trees at all, so it's a perfect spot for planting full sun fruit trees that are heat and drought tolerant and that like the sunshine. But my goal is to fill up the front of the yard first. But there is our back lot, and we did just order this dirt and mulch, but just because we have that big pile of mulch over there does not mean that I'm going to utilize it in my gardens when I can use the free and natural material like the leaves, which worked perfectly fine with me for me last year. That dirt and mulch almost cost us 500 bucks if we count the taxes, the delivery fee. We got 5 yards of the mushroom compost garden soil, 5 yards of the cypress mulch, so that's not even a lot, and it almost cost us 500 bucks. So we definitely can't do that too often, so it's a really good idea, if you can't do that too often your own self, utilize all the leaves. So I'm going to show you how the leaves have broken down in this garden over time, since we did this around this time last year, and you could kind of see a better idea of what I'm talking about. So this garden we completely mulched with leaves from our backyard, and you can see at this point and this year how it's looking. Everything has broken down into smaller pieces. The soil itself looks darker than like the sand that we're used to, and this is just from 1 year of leaf mulching, and look how much it has broken down, and it has improved the color and richness of our soil. It's still a bit sandy in areas, but it has definitely made a difference. Where like I dumped most of the leaves last year, you can definitely tell what the difference. And if you remember, also last year we put a lot of pine shavings over here and hay. All of that has even broken down, but I noticed that the color isn't as dark with the pine shavings. You can still see chunks of the pine shavings here. It's not as dark. I think the leaves did a much better job. So like right here, all of these I would rake up, and I'm going to layer them into the garden. That is pretty much it. That's all you have to do. Just the act of layering them up, and then when you set your sprinklers to water your vegetables, just the act of that will naturally break everything down and improve the quality of your soil. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I've heard that so many times before too, layering wood chips and mulch and leaves, grass clippings. I've heard that for so many years, and just for some reason never really did it. And there's definitely time wasted, because we've been here for a while, and by now we would have even more rich and dark soil there if we would have started that earlier. Another thing I plan on doing today, other than pruning some of the branches in the front and leaf mulching my garden back here, I want to fertilize my fruit trees back here and add some mulch too. I'm going to add some of the store-bought mulch to the fruit trees back here. See if I can get them looking a little bit happier. Some of them aren't doing too bad actually, but I'm going to show you a tree that we have in the front so you can see the difference of what location makes on your fruit trees. So we planted these little fruit trees around the same time. This little one, it has actually grown a lot ever since we planted it. This one is doing good, even though it's on partial shade. We have a couple banana trees. This one is doing okay. It looks like it's lost a lot of leaves. Probably have a pest problem on that one. We lost the whole tree around this area. And this one, I think it's on its way to be dead. It's pretty much just dried, but it looks like it's still alive, but I don't know. That's why I'm going to fertilize all the fruit trees back here and then add a layer of mulch around the trunk base. See if I can liven them up a little bit. Maybe that'll give them the extra boost that they need. But let me show you another one of those citrus trees we planted around the same time. These were actually trees that my mom grew from her own seeds, and I'll show you the difference of them because we planted them all around the same time. They were all around the same height. Yet some of the ones in the back are looking kind of rough. We've lost some, but look at this one over here. This one we planted in this garden, and I think why this tree is thriving so much is because this is our little compost trash can. So we planted it here, not really, we weren't planning it like that. We used to have the sheep up here, and this tree was way smaller back then. So the sheep kept climbing on here to get to the tree branches of this specific tree, and they kept like leaning this in somehow, but this tree was smaller, so actually putting the trash can here would block the sheep from being able to push on this fence too much. But now we don't have the sheep up here anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. But I think what is making this tree thrive so much is this compost bin being right here, because when it rains, things leak out, all the juices leak out of there. It's basically watering our tree with a compost tea without us even having to do anything, which now that I think about it, it's like, duh, I should have been doing this to all of the other citrus trees, but I just wasn't thinking about it. And we noticed our flowers. Let me see if I can find some for you. Here's some little flower buds. They're kind of hard to see, but we have a bunch of them. And way up there, I have to prune this tree after the season is over. Here's some more. Here's some more over here. But this tree should be giving us fruit this year. Very excited about that. I definitely didn't think it was going to happen this fast, because I'm not even sure how old these are. Maybe 7 years. 7-year-old grown from seeds, and this is the only one out of our bunch that is flowering. And I highly believe that that is due to this fertilizer, this natural compost that is right next to it. But it's very tall, definitely have to prune it. I've been pruning it, but it has really blown up around this time. It has a bunch of more blooms, but I can't see them right now. It's starting to get really thick in the middle. But I counted at least 10 flowers last time I counted. The flower petals have probably fallen off by now, so I am looking forward to seeing the fruit actually grow. But that tree is taller than me. It's actually taller than our shed right now. So another way to do this with your fruit trees, which I am doing with my the fruit trees back here now, is I'm taking actual veggie scraps, eggshells, all of that stuff that we save for the compost bin, and I'm actually burying it near the roots of the fruit tree, kind covering it back up with dirt and the mulch, and that will eventually break down and fertilize the tree as well. I've seen lots of people on YouTube doing that, and it'll pretty much act the same as this. Instead of it being in a compost bin, it'll be directly in the dirt. That should encourage earthworms to come and break everything down for you, or other bugs. And eventually your tree will just take all that in and continue growing and flourishing from there. So I am definitely starting that this year with the rest of my fruit trees, plus all these new ones. So in addition to just the regular pellet fertilizers, I'm going to be adding all the natural fertilizer, all the natural compost, and maybe eventually just do that if I see that that is enough to feed the tree. So that is another tip that I have learned just from experience, and it's just another one of those things that you hear but then you kind of forget about it and you never actually do it. So definitely something to put into consideration. But anyway, I gotta get back to work. Those are my 3 things I want to do today, and I got a couple hours to work on it, so I should be able to get it all done. So I'll catch up with you guys in the next video and share anything new that has went on and any other progress. I'm also going to be planting the last 3 of my fruit trees this week. So soon we'll be shopping for some more. I found a couple nurseries, local nurseries, that have really good prices as well. So we're going to go check them out and get our next set of trees and get to planting those. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it helps some in your gardening goals. I'll see you guys in the next video.